Hello, everyone. Tonight we are talking about change. We are going to be diving in to change, and it's a really exciting topic right now because we are on January 19th of 2021 when I'm making this video, and this is right about the time where our New Year's resolutions start to kind of go out the window. So we're going to be diving into why it's so hard to change, how to kind of what to do, what are the stages of change, why it's so hard to stick to it. And I'm going to give you something at the end here that's really going to kind of pull it all together, right? So if you are here, my name is Danielle Ingenito. I am an expert in healing after toxic relationships. I'm also a spiritual empowerment coach and master healer. And I am so excited that you guys are here joining me tonight. So if you can hear me and see me, please let me know in the comments. I know I am in live on my YouTube channel, on my Facebook group, my Facebook page, and also my personal page. So if you can see me and hear me, please let me know in the comments. Let me know that the comments are working because I'm not seeing any of them right now. So do me that favor, please. Okay, Nancy, thank you so much. Sometimes I wonder, can you see me? All right, awesome. So I'm excited to share this with you. I have my notes in front of me. I always show up. I always do some research before I go into these things. And I also like to bring our mind and our energy. So if you don't know about energy, I will be teaching that to you a little bit later on. But we're first going to work with our mind and how our mind is actually kind of running in the background when we're trying to do change. So let me know in the comments also, like, what was your New Year's resolution? What were you looking to change for this year? And let me know if you have stuck with it so far. So I'm hoping that you have. But all right, let me say hello to some people. Nancy, if you are in my Facebook group, let me know your name when you are commenting because I cannot see it on StreamYard. Zulema, hello. Teresa, Catherine, thank you for letting me know you can hear me and see me. Nancy, Tracy, Teresa, thank you. All right. Oh, I'm beautiful in blue. I know. I changed the background. I put a new color on. It's like I'm a new person. I don't know. Okay, so let's talk about the stages of change. And while I talk about the stages of change, I'm going to go into more detail about it, and whatever comes up, comes up. That's just how I roll. So the first stage of change is awareness. Now, I think that this stage is where we stay in the longest because this is knowing that we have something to change, but we really don't want to do anything about it. So all through these stages, I'm going to give you an example of a relationship because, like I said, I help women heal after toxic relationships. So if we're going to be using the example of a relationship here, and you can change relationship out for whatever you are trying to change, but I'm going to go with the relationship here. So if you are in a relationship that is not making you feel good and is kind of not even just not making you feel good, but actually keeping you down. So abusive, emotionally abusive, which is one of the most harmful abuse because you can't see it and people can't see it. So nobody knows that you're going through that. So usually you're going through it alone. And in this stage, it's like you know that there's something wrong, but you're not ready to think about changing it. You're probably still in the gaslighting stage of where your partner is making you feel crazy and you're confused, but you know something's wrong, but you're just not willing to think about change and you're trying to fix it rather than change it. Okay, so the awareness stage, you have no intention of changing it. So this is where I think we stay in denial, that there's even maybe a problem. You kind of know it, but we stay in denial of like, maybe it'll fix itself, or maybe I can fix it, especially in a relationship, maybe marriage counseling, whatever that is. But you're not willing to kind of really take the leap knowing that you have to get out, but you're not willing to do that in a relationship. Okay. I can see and hear you. Oh, thank you. Oh, the comments are coming in a little bit late. New Year's, stop yelling so much, Teresa. Not doing great, but trying. Awesome. All right. Well, this will be helpful. Okay. So the first stage, let me see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stages here. So stick with me. We're going to go through it pretty quickly. So we're only going to be on here like a half hour or so, which I try, cross my fingers. But so awareness. The second stage now is we move into contemplation. And Nancy, yes, I am going to talk about change being scary. But contemplation, this is kind of further awareness. It's like, you know that there is a problem and you start to think about changing it now. You're like, okay, maybe this is getting too much. Maybe I need to start to think about making a change. And, I have a bunch of courses, and in my Unleash Your Divine Self course and Manifest Your Abundance, we talk about when the pain gets too big to bear, that's actually when we really make change. It's because it's like, we can't do this anymore. And I know, being a spiritual teacher, this is the tower moment in tarot, and this is when the universe steps in. Like, literally, the universe can make it so painful that you got to make the change. And we really don't want to get that far, to be honest. I've been there. You don't want to get it that far, because that's the tower moment. It feels like your whole life is falling apart. You don't know what the heck is happening. But it's because you waited too long to make the change, and the universe is going to step in. And you probably have seen that many times in your life. So, or at least one big time for sure. And if not, be grateful and make the change that you're thinking about making before that happens. Okay. So, but this is when you start to contemplate it. We spend a lot of time in this stage, in this contemplation stage, where we are going back and forth. Like, is it worth it? Like, I'm kind of comfortable where I am. So say for a relationship, like, at least I know what I have. Like, if I get out of this relationship, I might not know what's out there. Maybe I think there's something better, but maybe it's even worse out there. So I'm just going to stay comfortable where I am. So our brain, which is what I call the ego here, really goes back and forth with us about, should we or shouldn't we go? Because change is uncomfortable. And in all my courses, I teach everyone to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because when we aren't, and when we like to stay in our comfort zone, this contemplation stage is really going to be where you're stuck. So let me know in the comments as we go through this, what stage do you think that you're in right now? So again, if you like to be comfortable and you really don't like to get out of your comfort zone, don't like to get your heart pounding and anxiety going for a little bit, this is where you're going to probably be stuck, is the contemplation stage. Okay, should I make the change or shouldn't I make the change? It's too scary out there. I'm going to stay in my comfort zone. In this stage, you're just not ready to commit. It's really in your mind. You're really in your head in this stage. So now we go into the preparation stage of change. Now, I've been here a lot, especially with food, because if you know me, I am sugar-free, gluten-free, dairy-free, caffeine-free, like all this stuff. And I was never that way. I could never drink just water. Like, I made a lot of changes through food, made a lot of changes through relationships too. But definitely the preparation stage, you start to kind of think about how it's all going to work. So it's the plan that you make. So we'll go back to the example for the relationship. So in the relationship stage here, in the preparation of this relationship, now there's a problem. Now it's hurting you more than it's helping you. So now you're feeling there's no more happiness. And especially in a toxic relationship, we like those crumbs of validation. And like, now there's none, or even if there is, it doesn't do anything for you anymore. So now you are just in pain and you are not liking where you are. There's no happiness coming to you. And now the pain is more than the pleasure. So therefore now it's like, okay, I'm ready to do something about it. We move into the preparation stage, which is about making the plan. So in a relationship that you want to get out of, this is when you start putting money away for yourself in order to leave the relationship. This is when you start maybe looking for somewhere else to live, or, calling friends to see if you can stay with them. But this is when you actually start to make the plan. For me, when I was doing all my food stuff, this is when I was researching recipes, and not that I cook a lot, but, and if you know me, you know me, but, this is when I start to like, okay, what can I eat? What can't I eat? And really start to research it and get a plan together. So this is where you're really thinking about making this change. You're starting to research a lot of things. Now, at this point, you can backtrack, because it can feel overwhelming. And you need to realize that the preparation stage is going to feel overwhelming because you're doing something that's uncomfortable, and you're not doing it yet, but you're going to be. You're kind of getting your mind ready that like, oh, we're going to do this thing. And you're seeing everything kind of laid out of what you have to do. And it can be really, really scary, especially when you're leaving a relationship. Like, these are huge, huge changes. You're leaving the place you live, probably. You probably have children that you have to think about, and all of their, pain and suffering, concerns with school and all this stuff. I've been there. You're thinking about so many different things, and also different people that it's going to affect, especially in relationships, right? So this would be a very easy place to be like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stay where I am. And I know that I've done that a lot of times in my marriage that ended 4 years ago. So I realized, like, I just kept like, okay, we'll take a separation, and then it just didn't work. Right. And we got back together, and then it was still miserable. And this is where you can backtrack. So be really aware in this stage of the preparation, because it can be really scary and overwhelming. But I suggest, and I urge you to push through that. And again, not just in relationships, but anything that you're trying to make a change, especially with the food, right? If you're doing diets this year, even the negative thinking and mindfulness and meditation, like, when you're thinking about sitting down for 20 minutes a day, like, that can feel very overwhelming if you already have a lot to do. So push through that. Do not let the ego, and what I say the ego is our subconscious thoughts, our negative thinking, don't let that win, because the result, that the change that you're looking for, is going to get you a bigger result than holding yourself back. Pushing through all the scary stuff is going to, one, give you strength, see your worth because you made it through all that scary crap. And now it's like you get the result as well. So push through the scary stuff. Okay. Let me know if you guys are getting this. Let me say value in the comments for me if this is making sense, if it is resonating with you, and if you have been in these stages and you can you're following me along and saying, yep, been there, done that, been there, done that. So I see Facebook user in the Facebook group is, yes, constant back and forth. I'm in the situation that my heart hurts. Yes, I'm sorry to hear that. Veronica, hi. Hey, Lay, I'm glad that you made it in here. Just came out of a tower moment. Yes, you did, Nancy. And you are stronger now than ever. And if you are going through those tower moments, just realize, like, they are there to bring you down, to build you stronger. And that's for sure. I work with a lot of women that have been through these tower moments. And it is the thing that, again, the pain is worse than the pleasure. The pain is too much to bear. So therefore you make change. Okay. You can't find a job and feel lonely here. I can't leave. Oh no, I'm sorry. Try to make friends online. I'm not sure who that is. I'll pop into my Facebook group later to see the comments. Okay. To get back to you. All right. Yes. Value. Okay, good. So it is making sense. All right. Are we ready? Are we ready for the next stage? The next stage. So this is stage 4. So we've got awareness. We got the contemplation, thinking about doing it, maybe, right? Then we got the preparation. Okay, we're going to go for it. Let's see what this entails. Now we have the action stage. So, why I'm teaching this to you, and I got the stages off of psychology.com. Everything else that I'm talking about is really me, but the names of the stages and kind of what they're about, I got that off psychology.com. But why I'm sharing the actual stages is because I believe that the more that you can understand the way that your mind works and the way that you are, you have a better chance of succeeding. I think awareness, I always say this, awareness is key. And when you can be aware of why you think the way you do, why you act the way you do, why you're trying to change, but you just can't get there. And if you can understand these stages, it makes it a lot easier to say, oh, okay, I'm in the preparation stage. And this is where it's going to get scary. So you can actually prepare yourself, pun not intended, but you can prepare yourself to be like, okay, this is going to be scary. I'm ready for it. And you can push through more than if you weren't aware that this stuff was going to come up. So when you can know the steps and you can identify things for yourself and understand yourself better of what you're going through, it's easier to become aware of it and not let it affect you so much. So that is why I am bringing this to you, okay? So we are going into the action stage now. So we've done the preparation. We've got the plan in the relationship. We've got the plan. We've got some money saved up. We've got a place to go. The kids are with us, whatever it is. You've got papers, legal stuff figured out, whatever it is. And now we are ready to take the action. So this would be leaving the relationship, especially a toxic one that you want to get out of. So this would actually be telling them that you're leaving and then moving out. So this also with the food and stuff, this is actually when you're eating better. This is when you're not just thinking about it, not just planning about it, but actually doing it. All right. So you go from the planning to the doing. This is when those substantial changes are actually happening. So for us, if you had a New Year's resolution, which I didn't see a lot of them in here, but if you had a New Year's resolution, this was probably, anywhere between January 1st to probably maybe January 10th or so forth. Hopefully you're keeping up, but this is why I don't set resolutions, but that's probably when you are actually making the changes. Maybe the first day, maybe the first hour of the first day. I know how it goes. But this is actually when you're doing. So usually it lasts like about 1 month to 6 months, depending on if you get there. Now, again, with that being said, if you had a New Year's resolution, but you didn't make it through, it's most likely because the pain, or I'm going to tell you the why is so important as well. The why was not important enough to actually make the change. And I'm going to give you an example. So when I was trying to get pregnant with my daughter, let me think about this. Yes, when I was trying to get pregnant with my daughter back in 2010, 2010, I was trying for a year. And I had went to a fertility doctor and I told her all my symptoms that I had went to other doctors for. They wanted to give me anxiety and depression medication. And I never took that because I knew there was something wrong with me, but nobody could tell what it was. So when I went to a fertility doctor, the fertility doctor diagnosed me with celiac disease. So therefore I couldn't eat gluten. So I went off gluten Christmas Day of 2009. And by January 7th of 2010, I was pregnant. So after trying for a year. So that one thing was, drastic for me, but I had to quit gluten. And if you don't know, gluten is in almost everything. And especially back then, celiac was not a thing. It was never heard of. Gluten was not a thing. There wasn't gluten-free foods out there. So I had to go cold turkey really fast. And why? Because if I ate gluten during my pregnancy, I would lose the baby. And I actually did. I had 2 miscarriages after having her before I had my son. So because I ate gluten, because I wanted it so bad, because I had to go 9 months without it like that. But the why was so strong for me because I would lose my baby. So therefore, if you are not making the change, you've got to come up with a more powerful why. I started to work out a lot like after I got divorced as well. And it was because I had 2 small kids. They were 3 and 6 at the time. And my son was pretty hefty. I wanted to work out so that I could carry him up the stairs if I needed to put him to bed. I didn't want to have to depend on a man because I didn't have one around, right? So the why is really, really important in order to make the changes. So the pain has to be big and the why has to be big, all right? So what is your why for the change that you want to make? All right. So that is the action stage. That is the most commitment that you have to have because you're actually doing the things. All right. This is where with the system in place, you want to make sure that, coaches, priests, friends, parents, whoever, you want to make sure that they know what you're doing and hold you accountable to it. Because I know a lot of times when we have nobody checking on us, it's easy to, skip something or, stay in the relationship because nobody really knows that you're trying to get out of it. So they can't encourage you. So this is a really good time during the action stage to get someone in your support system. All right. This is also the action stage where, when I posted today, is about where the ego really attacks you too. So the preparation stage, the ego is going to attack. The ego is really going to attack you the whole way down this stage thing. But, and also the action, because this is the uncomfortable feelings. When you are making that change, you are going against the patterns and the habits that you have had. And the ego likes to be comfortable. Our ego is our fight and flight. This is where it wants to keep you safe. And if you are doing things that it is not used to, it's going to feel very, very uncomfortable, and it's going to start telling you things, especially like, like, oh no, just stay in the relationship. This is what we know. There's nothing better out there. It's easier to do this. And this is really because now you're actually taking action. So this is about you getting out of your comfort zone. And when that happens, it goes crazy and wants to bring you right back. Again, learning to dance with the ego is always important, because the ego doesn't go away. Sorry to burst your bubbles, but the ego doesn't go away. But learning to dance with that ego, learning how to understand it, how not to go down what I call the ego hole, right? You want to be able to be aware of the ego, that you feel uncomfortable, that it's coming up for you, but then push it aside and do it anyway. Hey, Leela. Okay, so then this is probably the most important stage. Yes, I'm going to say that. I know the action stage is important, but this is the most important stage, which is the maintenance stage. This is about you continuing what you're doing. And this is why it's so hard to stick to the change. Because I think what happens is we get all excited that, yes, we've done it. And we feel like we have accomplished something. I feel like I can't talk tonight. We feel like we have accomplished something, but then we go back, right? We go back, something happens. There's, a death in the family. There's a breakup. There's homeschooling or COVID or whatever is happening. And we tend to be like, oh, too much stress. So usually there's like a stressor that comes up and shifts us, or kind of bumps us, I would say, into a mindset of like, oh, I just can't do that today. And then today is one day, and then tomorrow is another day. And then we just start down that pattern again. And then it's like 3 months later and you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't worked out in 3 months. So the maintenance stage is the most important. And this is also where you have to have that support, because it's hard to change on your own. It really is. So you have to have that support kind of pushing you there too. Okay, so let me just see my notes, make sure I'm doing, old behaviors. Oh, relationships, right? So with the relationship, we've got out, we're on our own, we're living on our own, everything is going good. And then the ex calls you, or the ex comes back, or the ex wants to talk, or whatever it is. And the ex just comes back in the picture again. And then all of these feelings come up, all these triggers come up, and you're like, oh my gosh. And then they manipulate you, especially narcissists. They will manipulate you back right in, and you fall right back into their trap, and you're back with them. This is the most common thing. So you did it, you got out, but then it's like, they suck you right back in. So the maintenance stage is where you have to remember the pain that you were in. So what I would advise you to do is, if you're in these other prior stages and you haven't taken action yet, especially in the contemplation stage, like journal. I actually, when everything happened with my ex, I actually did a video, not a video, but like a video audio, where I basically poured my heart out as to what happened and why I would never go back to him. And in the maintenance stage, anytime that I was having any kind of thoughts like that, I would pull that out and listen to it. Now I don't even need to listen to it. I just know it. But I would pull that out. So I would advise you to have something that you can go back to, so that you can, quote unquote, revisit, not relive, but revisit the pain that was making you want to change. If it's losing weight or exercising, like, how are you feeling? I'm lethargic. I couldn't walk up the stairs. I can't breathe. I can't lift my kids up. Like, can't even go shopping. And like, my back is killing me. Like, write it all out, or, audio, whatever you want to do. But so that you have something, I call it, in your toolbox to go back to when you're creating this change. because you're going to want to go back. When you want to quit, because we're all going to want to quit. That's our ego. It doesn't like uncomfortable. Every day is going to be uncomfortable. It just wants to go back to sitting on the couch and watching TV, eating chips and ice cream, right? Or we just want to stay in this relationship because even though it's not great, it's, you know, hey, it is what it is. At least I have someone and I'm not lonely, right? Whatever the ego is going to say to you. So we have to have something to counteract that ego when it starts to flare up. So that's really important in this maintenance stage. Let me see if I wrote anything here. Yeah, okay. The other thing for this maintenance stage is you're going to make mistakes. You're going to relapse. So I know I work with a lot of women after the toxic relationships. So what do I hear a lot? Oh, my ex got to me again. Like I flared up. I unleashed everything on him. And it's like, it's okay. It is okay. I remember I was screaming in a parking lot. Oh my gosh, it was horrible. And I was like, it is okay. He got to me. The manipulation got to me. I'm better than this. It was one time. Forgive yourself. Let go of any shame or guilt. If you're doing great with the food and all of a sudden you have one day, something happens, that stressor trigger, and all of a sudden you eat a pint of ice cream or even a gallon of ice cream. Maybe a tub of ice cream. My mother and I was like, wait, a tub is not a gallon. Like I was like, wow, a gallon's a lot of ice cream. But whatever, you get what I mean. So, you know, forgive yourself, but start back up. One of the things that I used to do was like an all or nothing type of thing. So if I dove in, I kept diving. So if I ate something like sugar, say I ate sugar on Halloween or something, I would continue to eat it all day. And then I would continue to eat it the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day. So we don't have to do that. It's a one-time thing. It's a mistake. It's a relapse, quick relapse. And this is even with, you know, alcoholism and addicts and stuff. Like it's a relapse. Okay, it happened. No big deal. Mistakes happen. You're human. The ego won that day. And that's what you have to remember. The ego won. So therefore you want to keep, get right back on track and let go of any shame, any guilt. You are human and understand that. Okay, so forgive yourself, let go of any of that stuff. All right, do you guys have any questions so far? I got 3 minutes. Let me check out some of these comments while we're going here. Let's see. Do you think it would work to pick a day to where you leave, or is that just leaving the door open for them? You really have to know yourself. If you need a deadline, then pick a day to leave. You don't have to tell them though. Just have it in your mind. Because if you share that day with them, you can or you can't. But just think about what I'm saying here. If you share that day with them, they can start to manipulate you, especially if you're dealing with a narcissistic person. They can start to manipulate you. So for a narcissist, I would tell them the day you're leaving and leave. And no contact after that, if you can, if you don't have kids and stuff like that. Change requires a shedding of the ego. That is for sure, TNT. Facebook, yes, he's for sure a manipulator, but I blame myself more than I do him because he's always showed his true colors. I feel like I just choose not to see it. Like maybe he could change. No, he's not going to change. We can't change anybody else. If he's always showed his true colors, that's who he is. So therefore, it's you that needs to change or make the decision to get out if it doesn't feel good. Maybe you don't even need to change. Pretty sure you probably do. But because we all do. Like we all need to change. We all need to heal. And I don't think we ever stop healing in a lifetime. That's why we're here. We're here to heal. We're here to learn. We're here to evolve. So stop. This is a very common thing with women who are dealing with narcissists, even men probably who are dealing with narcissists, where we think that they are going to change. I have worked with a bunch of narcissists. They do not change. They feel like they are, and then boom, right back to where they were. So definitely, and you can't change anybody else. And why do you want to be with someone that you want to change? Find somebody that you don't want to change. All right. No shedding of the ego. You must want to heal your ego. But I can talk about this for hours. Let's see. Right. As I randomly think about losing weight, Dee brings up a diet. Awesome. Can we learn more about the ego at some point? Because I need to understand that better. Yes. I teach the ego in every single course I have. Oh, where did I just go? Okay. I have no motivation and overwhelmed. Need to exercise and need to stop spending money. I'm so down and my hubby is in his man cave all day and night. I would be afraid to go out on my own and Nice, get a job. We both have issues, but it's hard living with fighting. Yes, absolutely. So again, that kind of situation, you want to focus on yourself first, right? You can't change anybody else. So you need to take your power back in that relationship, and you need to do what you need to do. Now, you said exercise, stop spending money, and clear the clutter. Pick one. Don't overwhelm yourself. Just pick one thing to change at a time, and do it kind of, if you're overwhelmed already, just do a little bit. So say, for instance, if you want to lose weight, what is one thing that you can do every day? And it doesn't need to be go to the gym for an hour. Don't overwhelm yourself with the size of change. Change takes time, and you want to do a little by a little by a little, so that those small little actions get bigger results. Okay. So I would start with one of those things, like maybe clear clutter. If you're overwhelmed and don't have time, set a timer, take 15 minutes, go into one room, clear what you can, right? Do that another day, 15 minutes. That's it. You guys, I have 2 kids. I'm a single mom, 2 kids, running a business and homeschooling my kids during COVID. They're with me about 95% of the time. You can imagine what you can get done in 15 minutes. There's a woman called Betty Rocker. She has 15-minute challenges. Like, you can get I was in the best shape of my life just by doing 15 minutes a day with her. I was able to do handstands. I was able to do the monkey bars. And this was like, I don't know, 5 years ago. So I was still not a spring chicken. So you can get so much done in 15 minutes. So that is the ego making excuses that you're overwhelmed and you don't have time. 15 minutes, do 15 minutes and see how you can feel and what kind of change you can make in 15 minutes. Good idea to write about how I felt in the relationship. Good job. Yes, I'm battling this now. Laziness, working on it. Good. Teresa, I've had a hard time forgiving myself and stay in shame and do it all over again, but I'm trying and learning. Yes, you're human. Let it go. And let's talk about that. Okay, so I'm going to move on. I will definitely revisit some of these comments later, but I want to stick to my half hour and my time's up. All right, so again, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. This is the best thing that you can ever do for your life, is to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. This is about you dancing with the ego, shifting it out of the way, saying, you know what, I'm scared, I'm going to do it anyway. This doesn't feel good, I'm going to do it anyway. So I challenge you to do something uncomfortable every single day, and I guarantee you 100% that your life will change. But let's talk about this. So we talked about the mind here. So we talked about the 5 stages: awareness, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. Now, the ego, let's talk about the ego. The ego is compiled of everything that you've been through in your past, all of your beliefs, all of your memories, everything. And the ego is what is going to keep you down from your change, but it's also your energy. Now, I like to talk about energy because we are made up of energy, and not a lot of people understand it or know about it. But your energy can also keep you away from change, because this is where you feel uncomfortable. This is where you feel not worthy enough. This is feel like I've worked with women who keep weight on themselves because they're scared to get into relationships. So they don't want any guys to like them. So therefore, they keep weight on themselves, but this is subconsciously done. It's not consciously. It's not something that they are aware of. So we have these things inside of us, and with our energy, because of what we've been through in the past relationships, in childhood, especially in childhood, our subconscious beliefs are formed between the ages of 0 and 7. So think about what was happening in your life between those times, 0 and 7. Right? Where was your mom? Where was your dad? How was your relationship with them? Where were you? Where were you living? Were you moving around a lot? Did someone pass away? All of these things right there will cause so many limiting subconscious beliefs in your mind, and will keep you stuck from the change that you really want to see, especially in toxic relationships, because that stuff will make you feel like you are not good enough. And when you feel like you are not good enough, you are going to stay in these things that are not good enough for you. You are going to settle. You are going to deal with it because, hey, that's all I'm worth anyway. And again, that is not a conscious thing. That is a subconscious thing. This is where a lot of women will say, hey, I know that I'm worthy of a good relationship, but why can't I find one? And that's because we settle for less before holding out for the best. Ooh, I like that. I just made that up. A little rhyme. We settle for less rather than holding out for the best. Ooh, I like that. Someone write that in the comments for me so I can go back to that. So it's important for us to heal our energy, because all of those traumatic events that you've been through, the abuse, the neglect, people passing away, they put these things, I say, like, dense our energy. They put like boulders in our energy and they stay there. And then everything gets triggered. So when you are trying to create this change, so say for the relationship example, when you are trying to leave a relationship or even get into a new one, all this energy is going to come back up from everything that you went through in the past, maybe a past relationship, again, the childhood. That's specifically what I work on, because when you work on the childhood, it rolls into the future. It's like a domino effect going forward. Once you heal the root of the issue, which is usually around your childhood, then it moves forward, healing everything else, because you get it. You understand that it wasn't about that person. You didn't even love that person. However, they were triggering what you had been through in childhood, like abandonment. So you didn't want them to leave, not because you love them, but because you had abandonment issues in the childhood. So the point of all this is, when you heal your energy, you start to feel worthy enough. You start to love yourself. You start to understand that you are enough and that you are worthy of good things in your life. And when that happens, change also happens, because you feel like, when I went through this process, I don't want to put that crap in my body. I don't want to put caffeine in my body. I hardly drink alcohol anymore. I don't want to put sugar in my body because it doesn't make me feel good. I don't want to put dairy in my body because it doesn't make me feel good. I'm not trying to be one of these people. Believe me, I wish I could eat dairy. I wish I could eat sugar, but I can't, because it doesn't make me feel good. And feeling good is my number one choice. I am my number one choice, and you should be your number one choice, and how you feel and the frequency that you vibrate at with your energy. So when you heal yourself, this is when all of this stuff gets so much easier. All those stages that I just shared with you gets so much easier, because you will go right through them and go to the action stage, because you no longer want to feel crappy. So the energy part of this is also really, really important. And that's what ties all of this together. That's when you match your brain of saying, yeah, I need to make this change, with your energy going, yeah, we need to make this change because we don't feel good. And we link it together. And that's when the change actually happens. Okay. You have any questions on that? Kind of went through that fast. Yes, thank you, Veronica, for putting that. Yes, thank you. Tikchuchi, is that how you say it? I probably pronounced that wrong. Yes, I lost my dad 3 years ago, and it is still hard to deal with too. Yes, so that is, you can release the energy around that. I will go back to see who you are. But yeah, you can release the energy around that. Even when people pass away, all of those things cause, I gotta get a better word for this, but like cause ripples. We'll say ripple. No, I feel like their energy just spinning. It's just like spinning, spinning, spinning. And then when you get triggered, it comes up. All right. So very, very important to understand. Let me just make sure I said everything I want. The process is easier because you will love yourself so much that you will want to feel better. And that preparation stage, like all of the ego won't be so hard on you, because you know how to move it aside, because all those subconscious beliefs that the ego is holding on to is no longer there. All right. So choose you and choose what feels good. So in saying that, I invite you, I do have 2 more spots left open for my From Pain to Power mentorship. I do now have private sessions in that mentorship. So if you don't want to do a group thing, we can do a private thing. So if you guys are interested in that, I'm going to pop the link in here. If you do really want to create change and actually make it stick, all right, and know that you are worthy enough, get out of these relationships, heal after these relationships, because we all know that toxic relationships do a number on your self-worth, your self-love, your self-esteem, on yourself. I talk with a lot of women, and I was there. It's like you don't even know who you are anymore. I was just in a robotic state. I was just doing the very next thing that I needed to do. I didn't have any joy in my life. So therefore, the change is needed. So identify which stage you're in. And if you are in, let's see, the preparation, the action, or even the maintenance, or even the contemplate, any of these stages, the mentorship will work for you. All right. We work with the mind, and we work with your energy, and we release the energy from the past. And that is what a lot of people are missing, is that it's the energy from the past. All right. It didn't go somewhere. It's either in my group or in my Facebook page. The link didn't go there, so I will post it later on. Okay. Also deciphering between the head and the heart. Yes, that's exactly what. The heart is your energy. The head is your brain. We're humans. We have these human brains. I don't know why they made them that way. I think they make them. It's like a challenge, right? We get down. And it's like we have to learn how to deal with our spiritual being in a human body, and working with our brain, our human brain. All right. Yes. Awesome. All right. You guys are the best for putting all that out there for me. Yes, I will go back. That is going to be my new saying. I love it. All right, guys. So you can see if you qualify or if you're a good fit for the program. If not, I just opened up some spiritual empowerment coaching sessions. So if you want some just coaching, and I also have private healing. So you can find that on my website. DanielleIngenito.com. So you can just Google that because I don't have that link ready for you. All right. So yes, it's posted on the YouTube. I cannot see your comments after I get off of Streamline if you're on YouTube. So I will put it in the description box below, also in the comments. And if you're on Facebook, I will put it up in the description box too, as long as it lets me. If it doesn't, it's in the comments. I got to get this straight. All right, guys, I hope this has helped you. I want to thank you for being here. You can change. You can change your life, and it doesn't have to be hard. The mentorship program is only 8 weeks, and the women that go through there change their lives completely. And it's about letting go, understanding yourself more, and letting go of the energy that is holding you back for so long. All right, keeps you stuck with that ego. I want to say thank you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube. Make sure you give me some likes on Facebook. And I will see you guys next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Like always, much love to all of you. Have a wonderful night. Bye.